The Think Small podcast presents The Offshore Diaries, where business growth has no borders.
Hey everybody, Paulo Santos again here with the Offshore Diaries with another episode. We have a really interesting conversation today. Introduce you to Sheila So. She's a VA in the Philippines, and she's probably one of the most experienced VAs I've spoken to for as long as I've been doing any work in the Philippines. Sheila, welcome to the Offshore Diaries.
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
So Sheila, let's just start off straight out here. How long have you been working as a VA for?
15 years.
Okay.
This year.
Okay. Now, I don't have the exact dates and statistics in my head right now or in front of me, but the VA industry is only about 15 years old. Like in the Philippines, it was call centers previously and BPOs, which still exist, but the virtual remote workers working from home, which you're doing, right? Supporting foreign clients is only about that old. So you've been doing this, I would guess, pretty much from the onset of the boom of the industry in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we have a lot to talk about just based on that, because it sounds like you've been around the ringer. You've seen a lot of things happening. You've seen it evolve over time. But let's learn about you a little bit first, right? Okay. So what's kind of your expertise? What kind of work do you focus on or have you focused on in the past?
Much of the work that I do really revolves around writing, because I started my career as an SEO writer. So when I started, I had one single skill that I was very confident that people were looking for and that I knew I could build on. Okay. I didn't have a lot. Like, there were terms that showed up when I searched for jobs on the internet that I really didn't know what it was about, but I knew that there were clients from the US that were looking for someone to write articles for them.
Right.
And so that was how I started. And then after that, I stacked, I did some WordPress work, because as an in-house writer, it also became sort of my job to upload all these write-ups. And then, of course, I learned SEO, and then I learned SMM. And then eventually, so that was like the bulk of it. And then came the pandemic, when I lost my last full-time job as a content creator and social media manager. That was when I first landed my website copywriting project. It was... So I think something happened, and then they needed something drafted for the client within that week. And there was nobody in the team who could write except me. And because my attitude is always, whenever something shows up, and I think it's something that I can stack on something that I'm currently doing, my motto is just to take a stab at it. And I did take a stab at it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then eventually I did some of that. But then throughout, like, all those 15 years, I also had roles where I handled teams. So it's a good mix of both, but much of it really revolves around writing. So yeah.
Cool. So first of all, that's really great, because as the industry is expanding, let's just use that word right now to be fair. I think most people, when they look at the VA industry, most VAs, I'm going to put that in quotation mark, most VAs who are trying to get into the VA industry for the first time prefer to be very general. Like, I want to be able to use this and do that. I'm with you, honestly. I agree with you that having an expertise that you're going to be good at in the writing world or something else, you could expand upon that. But starting off on a very niche talent is so much more effective than just being, I'm a general VA. Well, what the hell does that mean? Like,
what do you do?
What do you do? Oh, I do this, I email, I do stuff. VA work. I have no idea what that means. Because as a client, right, as somebody who hires VAs, if I'm hiring a personal assistant or an administrative assistant, I still have to define what they're doing. I still have to look for certain skill sets on their resume or on their LinkedIn profiles or what they tell me or in the interview that's going to help me, right?
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying and what you've done in the past, which has been successful for you, is so much more effective. Where if I'm a new VA, going after very specific jobs that are looking for very specific talents is much more effective. Am I wrong? By the way, just I'm
No.
going to drink while we talk. By the way, it's not a you thing; it's a me thing. But go ahead.
Yeah, because the thing is, there is just like a lot of titles that gets thrown out, and a lot of like one role can be called so many things,
Right.
but it all really boils down to what you can do and what is that thing you do that drives results or meets the expectations of the person that you'll be pitching to, because the value lies there. It's not like, for me, it's really not about giving promises of, oh, I can do your emails, I can do graphic design, I can do this, I can do that, I can. Because also when you're trying to land clients, it's good to know at least what you have to offer.
Yeah. Perfect. Yes. Be aware. Be self-aware.
Yes, be
Right.
self-aware.
Be
Yeah,
self-aware.
that's it.
So, this is kind of it might be an easy question, it might be a hard question, but I want you to kind of think back, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of ways you could answer this, right?
Okay.
To be in any job for 15 years, I'm sure you could say has had its ups and downs and pros
Yes.
and cons and good and bad. Give me a reason or two of why you've stayed so long. What have you actually loved about it that you could actually endure? Because I know a lot of VAs that do it for a couple of years and say, okay, this is not
And then
for me.
they're out.
Right. So what have you actually loved about it that you've been able to persevere and stick through this long?
You know what, Paolo, I can be, like, I can answer this in a very Miss Universe way.
Okay.
But
No,
not.
Screw that. No, let's put the filters off. Let's go for it.
Okay. Well, number one, I can run my day however I want to run it. I am not forcing myself to wake up at 6 a.m. and then get dressed, do my makeup, make sure my clothes are ironed, and then catch a ride. Bardagulan sa commute.
Right.
If you know the word. And
Yes.
then get to the office looking like $1 million and pretend that I have friends who really love their corporate jobs and there's nowhere they're leaving it. And I'm really happy for them, because I believe it's really different for a lot of people. But I found my place here. And then also, one of the things that really drove me into the kind of job that I do is that I saw so many avenues where I can express my interest for writing. So like, I started as an SEO writer, and then I became someone who created content for social media, and then there's website copywriting. And then even when I was handling teams, I wrote SOPs. I made sure that the emails that I wrote, being a referee to clients and other VAs, got the message across. So I think it's how I was aware of the many ways that I can be creative with just one skill, and it's just one skill. But there are many, like so many avenues for me to do it. And then of course there were moments when I would stare at a blank document and I would cry, like literally. It's depressing. It's depressing. Like it's not a good feeling. Okay.
It's just not. Why are you? It's just not. The thoughts. It's not working for you. It's not coming out.
It's just not coming out. Yeah, the idea is just not there, and it's frustrating because I've done this for like years, and how come I just don't have anything? And it's depressing, And then the good thing about it is I can step away, and then I can go on a walk, and then maybe an idea comes in when I'm working, because most of the ideas, like I can tell you, most of the ideas that I have in all those 15 years, it really didn't came to me when I was on my, I was on my computer. Sometimes, most times it's when I'm walking or when I'm running my errands or when I'm in the bathroom.
Right.
So
yeah, no, I agree. I think creative types.
Yeah.
This job really, the VA world really works with creative types in many ways, That's why there's been such a growth in social media managers and graphic designs and video editing and writing, especially because of the fact that there is, the opportunity to take a walk, see some sunlight, walk a dog,
Yes.
grab a snack in between. That sometimes being stuck in a cubicle or in a corporate office too long, and the white walls and the fluorescent lights
Drives us
hinders it.
crazy.
Right. So all right, that makes sense. All right, so I get it. So you love the kill, you love that aspect to be able to be doing your own thing, and you love the growth process. You have to be honest here. Ready?
Okay.
Aside from when COVID happened and the whole world kind of changed, have you ever been driven to the point where you considered, okay, maybe this is not for me?
Let me think. No, really. Like, honestly,
Really? You love it. You
no.
love this.
I love this because I'm not sure if I've told you this in our previous conversations, but I really wanted to become a journalist.
Okay.
And then that really didn't pan out for me because, no one in my small city, my hometown, there was no way for me to get,
Be a
a
journalist.
major,
Right.
in journalism. And so the next best thing was, so I was like, my dad was just like, just become a doctor. And then I didn't chase that.
Yeah.
And then, I was literally recovering from chicken pox when I started looking up, because there's no better distraction for me than money. So maybe
Okay, yeah, why not?
I was stuck at home. I was isolated because other than my mom, my dad, and my sister didn't have the virus then. So I was isolated. I was bored. And so I just went on and I was just looking for something to do. And then I found out that people were hiring writers from the Philippines to write for them. And I had a blog. I had a portfolio. I
Yeah,
had
stuff to-
something
yeah,
to,
you
hey,
were
I
ready
can
to
write.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah,
Nice.
let's just. So like, I think it was a week later, I got hired
Okay.
to write.
Okay. So I got so sorry. So that makes sense. First of all, congratulations. I know most people have had at least a couple questions about their career choice along the way. I'm happy you've kind of been able to ride the course out and say, okay, and find out that this is something you really do love to do. But you've been there 15 years.
Mm.
There's been changes in this
Yes.
industry. Okay. Talk to me about some of the changes that you've seen and how you feel about them.
Well, one of the changes definitely. Okay, I'll leave AI the last.
Yes, yeah, let's save AI because that's a whole other
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah, of course. So one of the changes really that that I saw is, number one, there is a lot of like wrong mindsets and beliefs because before it was like plainly transactional. Oh, like I need someone to create logos for me. Oh, you can create
Right.
logos. Okay, do it
Right.
for me. It
Right.
was that. And then if you did a good job, and then if I have an agency and I have clients who need logos, then you're gonna be the person that I'll call.
Right.
I need something written for me. Okay, you can write. Boom, boom, boom. So there's that. But then, like right now, what I see is, and I'm sure you've seen this, because a lot of like many tenured VAs would literally roast people on Reddit, even on Facebook, when they post something, when they have a job post, and they're paying a certain amount, but then they're asking for so much.
Right.
So they want someone who will manage their calendars, but also create content for their social media, and then at the same time take care of after sales and do sales calls for them. It's just so like I think that on both sides of the spectrum, with the spectrum being the VAs and then the clients, right now, like it's just a bad fruit salad.
It's unaligned, is how I would say this. But let me speak as a client for one side of it.
Okay.
Right? Now, I happen to be a Filipino American client, so I'm a little bit different. But I do deal with a lot of American clients here who have teams of VAs over there. And one of the things that I noticed is that they are the client side. The clients are uneducated if it's their first time working with a VA or trying to hire a VA, on what type of talent exists there, and then obviously how to work and hire and give them the types of work that's appropriate. And I am going to be a jerk client for 1 second here, because I'm going to blame the VAs in the Philippines for this. One of the reasons we're so confused about how much work is what and whatever else, or even that, or how much something should cost, or a per hour price or a per project price should be, is because every time we put something out there, I think there's a level of Filipino VAs who are just trying to get work, right? And they're not savvy in how to work the systems between the different Reddit sites and the Upworks or the Fivers, or reaching out directly to clients, that they say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Right? And they say yes. And so if a client says, can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. Can you do it for 500 pesos in 20 hours? Yes. Right? They don't say no. And to me, that's these very junior newbies trying to get into the industry for the first time. And the client is like, well, this is freaking great. I got all this done. It just took, or I got somebody that says they can do it all for this price and this amount of money and this cost. And here's a problem. But here's a second problem there, right? That VA, for the first time taking on a small role, is going to bust their butt to do it. And they might actually accomplish it, but it's not sustainable. It's not realistic. You can't do that for the next 2 years of your life, right? But now the client has the first time client hiring in the VA in the Philippines for the first time has a bar that this stupid newbie has set, as far as the pricing expectation goes, as far as the work output expectation goes, and there's zero chance anybody else can deliver that on a consistent basis. And the client is very uneducated. So I'm just defending the client for 1 second here, because I do think a lot of this is that we are, and the other part, but one more thing. Every time somebody says they'll do it for $7 an hour, somebody will come back and say, I will do the exact same job for $3 an hour. Right? Because they're going to steal that job from the other VA for half the price, and they live somewhere in the middle of nowhere, so they can afford it, versus somebody living in the middle of Manila.
In the capital,
Right. So it has different reasoning. The client doesn't, by the way, talk to any American here. They don't know how far Mindanao is, or Cebu is, or Bohol is, or anywhere else. They just think Manila and the Philippines is Manila and the Philippines. They think it's all one place. They don't know the differences, and it's not fair to expect them to.
Yeah.
Right? So as a client, I genuinely think we are, aside from somebody like me who might be Filipino, right? A newbie client is getting basically their first experience from a newbie VA. We are as uneducated on the client side of how to work with a VA as the VA is uneducated from the VA side on how to work with a client. So I think there's, what you're saying, a big fruit salad of miscommunication is happening.
Yes.
I think they're extremely unaligned. And then there's your alignment, 15 years in the industry versus people that are in high school, secondary school, still trying to get in for the first time. That's another level of unalignment and miscommunication, because they're saying things very different than you. They're communicating very differently from you to clients, and they're saying things that something's going to take 20 hours, 30 hours to do. They're saying, I'll do it in 2 hours.
Yeah, that has happened. Yeah, a lot of times.
Right. So I mean, how are you dealing with this influx of new people coming in? How are you dealing with this whole new generation of VAs right now? How do you counter it? How do you, when a client says, oh, I just spoke with this person, and you realize they spoke to somebody who has no idea what they're doing? How do you counter it and say, here's why you need to go with somebody more experienced, more knowledgeable? How do you counter it?
So basically, compared to someone who's new, it's not just about saying, oh, I have more experience. I've done this for like 7 years. I've done this for like, I actually have case studies. You can actually call people that I've worked for. You can actually call, I can actually give you, this is a real person that I've done this for, and they will vet for me. And that's actually also the reason why in, like, for example, if there were even times when someone would, like someone that I've worked with, not necessarily worked for, someone that may have been under me as a, like as a manager or someone who basically just a colleague, and they found, there's like an opening at their company or they need some fractional help, and they would, a lot of the referrals that I get, I don't even have to go through 3-4 interviews with different people.
They vouch for you.
They vouch for you. They vouch for me. So I can speak to the operations manager today, and then I can start on Monday.
Yes. So first of all, kudos. I think a lot of people trying to get industry and a lot of clients need to ask for what you say you already have, right? Because there is this phrase all over Reddit in all these communities, fake it till you make it, right? And a lot of these newbies are putting a lot of bullshit down on these resumes and things, and they have no idea what they're talking about.
It's going to bite them back in the ass.
Yes. So I appreciate the fact that you actually do have case studies. You actually have references that will say good things about you, because it's a challenge. I genuinely think from a client side, I put out one job post, I will get north of 100 applicants for any VA position I put out today. Easily. And there's so much advice on these Reddit forums that say, just put anything down, just fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. And it basically, it ruins the industry for people who actually know what they're doing. Right? Actually experience. So, okay, so let's jump topics real fast. So you've been in 15 years. Have you been fully independent this entire 15 years you've been doing it?
Yeah, I believe so. Because even when you're hired full-time, I take care of my own stuff.
Right. You're still an independent freelancer. Right.
Yes, so, you're still an independent freelancer.
So you've never had to be under an agency before?
There was a time when I was under an agency, and then eventually I got hired by the agency to handle their digital marketing because nobody did digital marketing. Okay. Everyone came from BPO, and I was the only one who did digital marketing. And I was young. I was like 22, 21.
Okay.
So I was a baby.
I'm gonna ask you the real question here real fast.
Okay.
Was it a agency, or was it a established real agency?
Yes, it's an established agency.
Okay, which is funny because you know what I mean when I say, was it an agency?
Yeah.
Okay, tell our listeners what an agency is in the world of the VA.
An agency with air quotes is basically just someone who decided that they can get jobs and then hire newbies or someone that will do the job for them for cheaper. Say they charge $10 and they can pay this person to deliver the work for $3, and then they get the difference. So and then most of the time there's really no proper handover. It's just a conversation between them, and so basically they're a middleman. And the thing is, there's just no level of protection on the client side, and then on the worker side.
Yeah.
I think the term could be a middleman or a subcontractor, because they got the contract and they subcontract it to someone for cheaper.
Now, the answer is kind of yes. And agencies basically are subcontractors in many ways, where they subcontract. Which, by the way, if you're established and you have credibility, it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
But we're talking about agencies where there's a VA and they've made, a year or two with their client and they're making good money. And they say, you know what? I'm going to cut out. Why work for one client when I can work for 20 clients and then have a whole team of people under me
who
doing
does
all the
the
work
work
for me, cutting it. And they suddenly say, you know what? I'm changing from a VA to now I am now a entrepreneur business owner in the Philippines. Come work for my quote unquote agency, and I will find you all your clients, and I will pay you pennies on the dollar. I mean, how many of these have popped up over the past 5 years?
Mm.
I feel like I bump into one every single minute nowadays, right? And they go as far as we offer free training, we offer paid training, which I don't even understand. We offer some made up certification that they made up yesterday, right? It's on you have the Sheila certification for VA work, which they just make it up. But people on the client side need to know that these aren't real established companies at all, right? These aren't. First of all, most of them, 99% of them, are not even filed correctly in the Philippines.
Yes, and yeah.
Somebody said, I'm going to call it, Paulo Incorporated today, and they said, okay, we have a formal corporation here, pay us now. It's not true. It's not true. But then you have the other side of it where a VA is coming from an agency, and they were working with that agency for a year or so, making okay money, and they're like, why am I working for an agency when I could just do this myself and then have my own agency under me? So they basically become the agency owner, and then they pay people at the bottom. But I think what they don't realize is it's hard to get clients on your own. And for 15 years in the industry, that's all you do, right? So now you talk about getting clients on your own and then getting clients for all the VAs under you at the same time while you're trying to do your own work. It's an impossible thing for most people. So how diluted, or how have those people messed up the industry over the past 15 years you've been doing this? Because and is there a solution for it?
So there are like issues, like I'm not sure if you're aware, but there was even, I think a couple months back, that there were VAs were promised jobs with a certain person, and then she just kept asking for money from them for something that I can't really recall, but they were paying her for something in the belief that they will have jobs. And it's a scam. It got to Tulfo, the Rafi Tulfo in action. Yeah, it's there.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, I'll link you up after this one.
I'm looking it up. Keep talking. I'm looking it up as we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like that's one, and then there's another. This actually happened in my hometown. So what happened was there was a person who, there was someone who got a contract for, like, I think a number of articles written for the certain client, and then she subcontracted it to other people in the neighborhood, and all these people didn't get paid. And since the communication was just between the original contractor, and there was just no way for them to contact the so they didn't get paid for something that they worked so hard for. They lost sleepless nights, and so it's not just. And then also, I think on the side of the client, it's the problem comes in when you expected this level of output.
Service. Yeah,
this level of service, and it just doesn't meet that all of a sudden.
Right.
And
by the way, one of the reasons that is, by the way, is when a client hires one of these agencies, per se, the head person puts out their resume on Upwork or Fiverr or something else, or directly, and they think that that's the person that's going to be working for them.
Yes.
So and by the way, that person probably is a legitimate resume. It's probably all true, but that's not who you're hiring. You're technically hiring their juniors under them, and not actually getting the quality or the benefit of the actual resume that you thought you had hired. Right? Which is crazy.
Yeah, so that's also like one scenario. And then there's also the scenario with VA coaches. This has been brought to my attention 2 years ago, that there's this specific, I'm not sure if they're still around, but there's like this VA coaching something academy where one of their value propositions to people who want to become VAs is you can put them on your resume and they will pretend to be a reference person for you.
Okay. Why
And
not?
then one of the VAs who, someone asked me about it, and is this legal? Because, well, first and foremost, the person who should be on your resume as a reference person is someone who you've worked with,
Right.
who knows you at least on a professional level. Say someone who was, a manager who managed you, someone who was a collaborator at the very least, someone who just knows you professionally. Because if they're a coach and you were a mentee,
Right.
there's really no way for them to gauge how
Yeah.
well you are, like how good of a
nothing.
professional you are. There's just no way. So they're just going to make things up. And I think that's one of the fake it till you make it's out there.
Yeah.
So there's really a lot of things going on. So I think the solution really is for someone, if you're really hell-bent on becoming a VA and landing clients and making a living, providing for your family honest money that you use to put food on the table, roof over your heads, is to really educate yourself on what all this is about.
Right.
You need to understand that, number one, this is a job. This is a job. It will cost you sleepless nights. It will sometimes even cost your sanity. It will raise your blood pressure.
Right.
You will talk to people.
By the way, just like any other job.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is a legitimate job. This is not a vacation job.
Mhm.
It should be treated as a regular job in an office,
yeah.
in a field, in a warehouse, in a manufacturing facility, at your desk. It's an actual job.
It is an actual job. It's not
Right.
a side hustle. Because like in the
Right.
Philippines, when you talk about a sideline, say, for example, I need a sideline because I need Christmas money. So I'ma just help my aunt with her laundry and then she'll give me 500 pesos. So that's like a sideline. So you do something, you're out. So there's really no longevity in it. But if you are really dead serious, you're really hell-bent about becoming a VA, you really need to at least go on YouTube, look it up.
Yes.
It's there. You don't have to pay anybody a single penny to get an idea of what this is.
Listen to this podcast. Sorry, self promotion here, but yes.
And listen to this podcast.
Yes. And I will say, here's one place not to go for the full picture of being a VA. And this sounds counter to how I do things sometimes. Going on to a Reddit forum, okay? Going on to a Reddit forum, if you look at 99.9% of these posts about in the VA forums, there are people complaining and bitching, and they're negative about the industry, or there's people giving you some very false very false information, or there's people giving you some very, very bad advice.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. Not all. There's some very good people on there that do want to share information. I try to whenever I can, whether or not you consider me a good person or not, right? But most people there are not giving you the right advice.
Yes.
Most people there are not giving you the right advice. And most of the things that they're complaining about and stuff like that, and these newbies, you have no idea the qualifications of these people that you're talking to or that you're taking advice from. From an educational standpoint, I don't really know how you can hire a VA school trainer and pay for a certification, because every VA job is so specific. Yes. If you want to be a VA content writer or web, web content writer or SEO person, then study that. You don't have to study how to do that as a VA. You just have to study that, right?
Yes.
If you want to become a bookkeeping VA, you don't have to study. You don't need to go to a VA agency to teach you how to become a bookkeeping VA. Learn bookkeeping, right?
Exactly.
There is nothing, and I'm sure I'm going to piss off a lot of VA schools and certifications right now. There is nothing generic enough that could be taught at a VA school, that a client is going to say, oh, you went to Palo School for VAs. I need to hire you right now. I can promise you right now, any of those certifications means absolutely zero to any client I have ever spoken to ever. And I think the Filipinos, by the way, are blinded by certifications. They love it. They love pieces of paper. They love the fact that they're having a little party. They love it. It's cute.
They put it on the wall.
They put it on the wall. It's cool, I guess. From our side of things, as a client, I'm going to tell you right now, be able to deliver. That is the one thing I care about. Say you could do it and then do it. Other than that, I can care less about a piece of paper on your wall. Like, it doesn't mean a damn thing to me or anybody else I've ever spoken to on the client side. All right, Sheila, I got one more random question for you. We didn't talk about this, but it has to be thought. It has to be brought up. Okay. Two things in one kind of sentence. Obviously, everyone chases in the Philippines the $100,000 peso salary
monthly.
is the dream of the VA world. Okay. And then I'm going to crisscross that with this comment and then question. VA influencers. Okay. So we take the 100,000, we take the VA influencer conversation. You've been in this business almost from the inception of it in the Philippines. How, well, let me not guide you in the answer. What do you think about the mindset that the 100,000 number is easily achievable? And what do you think about what VA influencers are telling them on their Instagrams and social media? And is that good for the industry or bad for the industry?
I think it's really based on personal perception and insight, because I know people who are, I have this acquaintance that I met on TikTok, and her first project as a designer, I just forgot what specific type of designer she was 100K, even plus. And the reason for that is because she came in the industry with over 10 years of experience working at an advertising agency. So she speaks, breathes Pantones, hex codes and all that, and the psychology of colors and everything. You can tell her that this is the effect that you want, and she will give you a poster of that, because that's what she brings. And so when she talks to clients, and what's like 100,000, it's 2K around.
Yeah,
2K,
about $2,000. Yeah, a little less.
So maybe the client was like, okay, that's chicken.
Right.
Do this for me.
Right.
So there's that. That's someone that I really would believe, even if she told me that she got 300K.
Right.
And then there's this other group of people who make 100K because they are quote unquote air quote agencies. Right. Because there's basically just no cap. Like, say we all have 24 hours, and they have say 5 clients full time, and they spread the work to several people, and they get cuts. So how much would that be? So that's achievable. And then there are people who do everything on their own. It's 100K. But then the question really is, how much sleep are you getting every single night? Right. Because
sorry, keep going.
Because like, if you're making 100K, but then you're sleeping 2-3 hours at maximum, you're not winning at life. I'm so sorry to tell you that. One bad aneurysm wipes out everything. And I just hope that doesn't happen before you realize that, oh, this is just, But of course, what I'm saying is there are legit agency owners who really look after their people, who really do everything in their power to deliver what they promise their clients. And their clients know for sure that it's not them that's doing the work. They have, they have people under them who help them with the work. It's achievable. But also the thing with it is really like understanding and knowing what the industry is like, and not having your head up in the clouds and, oh, I sent my first application, and you're already going through your head like what you're gonna do with your first 100K that's coming on the 30th. So it's really just having a strong sense of knowing of what this is all about and what actually you can do to get that 100K.
So one of the things I'm really open about on this podcast is I think Filipinos are not trained, especially when they're VAs and they're not in corporate world per se, or haven't been there, or just newly getting into the industry, or uneducated. They're not really trained or educated on the realities of economics and economies of scale, which is really interesting because you brought up the idea that there's a woman there that's making over $100,000, 100,000 pesos, because she's had 10 years in the industry. And you're absolutely right about the idea that a corporation here in the US is like 100,000 pesos a month, done.
Yeah.
So I want to be fully transparent, and I want this to be an educational moment for our listeners for 2 minutes here. Minimum wage in the United States on average is $7.50 an hour. $7.50 an hour. That's roughly 15,000 US dollars a year. That is just shy of $1 million pesos, like 900,000-ish a year, right? That puts you at about, that puts you at 920, about 83,000 pesos a year. That's minimum wage. A month. 83,000 pesos a month on average. Is that right? My math right there? Yes.
That's
750. 400 divided by 12. 80,000. It's just shy of 80,000 pesos a month, minimum wage. And that's making $7.50 minimum wage US an hour. I live in a high minimum wage state. Our minimum wage in our state is literally $15 an hour. Okay? $15 an hour is about 150 to 170,000 pesos a month.
Every month, yeah.
Minimum wage. So you were absolutely right. Getting a 10-year experienced marketing person for 100,000, make it 200,000 month, is a massive discount to clients here in the US. This is why the industry exists in the Philippines. This is why there's such an opportunity for VAs to have real expertise that could actually make these numbers all day long, because on some of these corporations here that are hiring VAs all the time in the Philippines, it's chump change to them.
Yeah.
Right? They could easily pay. And in fact, they legally have to pay, if they were to hire somebody here, they legally have to pay them minimum wage. You're not getting somebody with 10 years experience in a marketing company here for minimum wage. Not to mention we have to pay taxes, we have to pay healthcare, benefits, vacation, all that stuff.
Your 401k, your contributions. And
this exists. This economies of scale is why the VA industry exists. And I think it's an opportunity for people like you who are very niche, very targeted in their expertise and industry knowledge to get really high amounts. I don't think it's 100,000 is an unreachable number, to be honest with you, at all. I think a lot of VAs should be able to reach that at some point, but you have to be able to provide a service that's worth it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think most VAs don't know what that is. They just think, I want to do something. Okay, cool. That's great. Do something. I don't know what that means. Right? No one knows what that means. So yeah. So to me, it's one of those things where, like, since you've been in the industry so long, you've seen a lot of change. I'm going to ask you for one more thing. Ready? One piece of advice to any newbie trying to get into the industry right
now. One piece of advice is really to be, as much as you're hell-bent at landing a client, be very, very hell-bent at learning how or what you have to offer. Because and it doesn't really matter whether you're applying for jobs or whether you're reaching out to clients and hijacking somebody else's post, and then someone says, it could be Paolo saying, send me a DM. And then
Yeah.
I believe for one send me a DM comment, he gets hundreds of,
Right.
hey, hire me too. It really doesn't matter what the medium is, what the platform is. Just be very, very solid on what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Learn one skill, just one skill. And it doesn't have to, because one of the things that I also saw, I keep seeing, that I've seen for a long time, is new BVAs would tend to be, they tend to ask like, what's a skill that pays so much?
Yeah. Right.
And
what's your skill? What are you good at?
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter
Right.
what that other person says pays much or the most.
Right.
What will pay you the most is the skill that delivers real solutions to real clients.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Because, like, for example, just think about someone who is aching, and it's an excruciating pain. And then they go to the ER, and the doctor says, "Oh, I'm going to have to remove your appendix." Right. Will that person say no? No, right. No. How much would that be? That would be 250K. No. It's the same with VAs. Right. This is the solution that's going to remove your pain. And how confident are you that it's going to solve my problem? Well, yes. Because I have this, I have that, I have done this with this and that. You can ask this person. They will pay your worth. Yes. Or at least they will try to meet halfway.
Yes. Yeah, no, I get it. I think that was a great piece of advice. I'm with you. I've seen those posts. What should I do to make the most money? Be a doctor. Wow. Okay. Are you qualified? Do you have the skills? Like you have to want to learn something or be good at something. And nobody else can tell you what that is. Like, why are you asking people what's the highest paid job? CEO of Google. Good luck. Go for it. Like, you can't just do that tomorrow, right? Like,
I'd love to see you try.
Go for it. Like, what am I going to tell you that's going to be good? Like, I don't know how to. Well, okay, neither do I. If I did, I wouldn't be doing a podcast right now. It's cool. Like, exactly. I appreciate that advice.
Yeah, and then when it also comes to skill, what I often advise people who come to me for advice is to think about what transitional skills they have. Like, for example, if they come from a banking, finance background that has been their day job for like 5 years, right. You can definitely find something that you can translate into this industry. Bookkeeping, doing payroll, maybe even, like being a financial or a VA to a financial strategist or something, because you speak the same language. And if you want to land, because the thing is, I want to land a client fast. If you want to land a client fast, your transitional skill is the best way to that. Right. Now, if like time is not, is not real, I have a whole year to explore, to do that, then by all means, learn and then find what you're good at. And also, one thing that I've seen is because I've reconnected with someone that I used to go to church with. And I was so amazed because because her kid that I used to give bond papers to, like the A4 papers, just to silence him at church, and then I'd lend him a pen. Guess what? He does graphic design now.
Nice.
So and he's very young. And also, maybe if you're looking for a skill that you can bring to this industry, maybe think of something that has interested you when you were a kid. I also have this cousin who she now paints at weddings. She's a live wedding painter, but she also started during the pandemic. She did illustrations for children's books, and she landed clients over the internet. So she's also a different type of creative. So like, really, there's so many things that you can do, and the good thing about the internet is it has somehow leveled the playing field. And what jobs the boomers thought are not gonna, give us something to put on the table. Well, someone's paying good money for those things now, for those skills now. Art, music, what have you. So think of a skill and then definitely go on Google, be relentless. find how those skills can be translated into something that pays the bills, at least. But
Awesome.
really, start with the skill. Start with the skill.
Great.
Start with the
Sheila,
solution.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of this. This has all been great
Thank you,
advice.
Paulo.
I have one great takeaway from our conversation, by the way, which I think is wonderful. My biggest takeaway from speaking with you, if you're looking to become a VA because you think it's an easy job, it's not.
Yeah.
Or if you think it's a side hustle or not a real job or whatever else, and you want to just lay back on the beach with your laptop like some influencer is taking a picture of her bikini while she's sipping a Mai Tai, working, this is not for you. Like, we as clients are looking for actual workers, employees, and everything else. If you're looking to get into this industry for the first time, if you want to have a long-term career like Sheila has in this industry, treat it like a real job, right? Because your client is looking at you as a real worker. And if you're not treating it as a real job, it's a really good way to get fired really fast. So, all right, Sheila, so thank you so much for coming on board. Guys, this has been another episode of the Offshore Diaries. We are looking forward to more and more wonderful stories just like Sheila in the future. Sheila, thanks so much, and we will see everybody soon.
Thank you for having me.
The Think Small podcast presents the Offshore Diaries, where business growth has no borders.